You are here, not by accident. You found this audiobook because something inside you refuses to settle for old lies. Everything you've been told about feeling wrong or struggling is backwards. Society teaches comfort, certainty, and avoidance, but that only traps you. Feeling wrong is not failure. It is the signal that your mind, body, and energy are expanding. This video will reveal 10 powerful steps that rewire your thinking, your emotions, and your daily actions. From embracing discomfort as guidance, awakening your body to signals, aligning with the quantum field, to transforming doubt into clarity and living as flowing creation. These chapters will challenge every belief you thought was safe, expose the patterns holding you back, and activate a new level of discipline, presence, and power in your life. Subscribe now to this Quantum Audiobook channel to access more of these life-changing teachings and step fully into your limitless potential. 1. Embrace wrong feelings as sacred keys unlocking hidden truth. You are not broken when you feel wrong. You are tuning into a deeper frequency that wants to be heard. That feeling arrives like a lighthouse flash in fog, a physical noticing that something inside you must shift. When the body tightens, the breath shortens, the mind tells stories, and the world seems off-center. This is data, not defeat. The first movement is simple and immediate. Notice the sensation without arguing with. Place your hands somewhere warm on your body, chest, belly, or over the place that tightens, and breathe into that touch. Slow breaths lengthen the nervous system, and a single hand creates a container so you stop collapsing into pattern and begin responding from present. Name the feeling exactly, not vaguely, but with sharp, honest language. For example, anxious, hollow, betrayed, restless, smaller, weaker, or wrong. Naming turns vague dread into intelligible signal and signals the brain that the moment will be witnessed, not escaped. Feelings that declare wrongness function as sacred keys because they open hidden doors that thought alone cannot reach. They point to misaligned values, unmet needs, tangled expectations, or latent invitations to grow. This is not about fixing the feeling immediately. This is about translating. Feel the tone, the location, and the story that accompanies it. Ask yourself what thought lives closest to this sensation. If the body tightens, what sentence runs in the background? I am not enough. I must perform. I am unsafe. I will be abandoned. Listen for the sentence and hear where it came from. Childhood, a relationship, a culture. The memory behind the sentence softens the charge. When you map the feeling to its thought and the thought to its origin, a new pathway emerges from reactivity into choice. Practical steps make this translation usable in daily life. When the wrongness arises, do a 1-minute reset. Stand or sit with feet grounded. Notice 5 sensations in the room: light, sound, temperature, texture, and name them out loud. Then inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Repeating this 3 times. With the next exhale, speak aloud the precise word for the feeling and the belief beside it. For example, I feel wrong, and the thought is, I am not acceptable. This small ritual reorients both body and narrative. The breath cools reactivity, the voice anchors recognition, and the phrase moves the signal from implicit to explicit. Once explicit, it can be examined and shifted. Shifting requires curiosity, not judgment. Approach the feeling like a scientist, not a criminal. Ask what this sensation wants to show rather than what is wrong with you. Ask where in the body it lives, how old the pattern seems, and what action would relieve it. Often the answer is practical and immediate. For instance, rest more, lower an expectation, speak a boundary, try a different schedule, or allow a small mistake. Other times the answer is energetic, like open to possibility, or practice self-forgiveness. Take one tiny experiment aligned with the data. If the feeling suggests exhaustion, schedule 20 minutes of unstimulated rest and note the impact. If it points to a boundary, say no once today to something that drains attention. Each tiny experiment recalibrates you away from compulsion and toward wise action. Language shapes experience. Replace condemning sentences with investigatory ones. Instead of I am wrong, try this: I am feeling wrong and I want to understand what that means. Instead of I always fail, try I acted from a strategy that no longer fits and I can learn. These phrases are small, but they rewrote neural pathways by allowing exploration instead of collapse. The quieter the inner voice, the deeper the shift. Practice this rephrasing in the morning so it becomes accessible in the moment of pressure. Keep a short set of adaptable sentences on a note in your phone so you can copy them into a message to yourself when needed. Embodiment amplifies insight. Move with purpose, not as punishment but as integration. Stand and stretch into the place that felt contracted, breathe into it, and then move the joints slowly within comfort. A 5-minute flow of neck circles, shoulder rolls, and ankle mobilization will do more to change state than hours of rumination. Use sound if needed. Hum a low note or make an odoe sound that resonates in the chest. The voice connects the cranial nervous system to the emotional center and helps unstick energy. When a feeling of wrongness lodges in the throat, try low humming for 30 seconds. Then speak a truth out loud, even if it is only "I am safe enough right now." Saying it shifts the resonance of the field around you. Daily micro-practices build new default orientation. Begin each morning with 3 clear actions that align body, mind, and field. First, open with 2 minutes of breath that centers the heart, slow inhalation and longer exhalation. Second, move for 3 minutes, something simple, walking, squats, or reaching for windows to wake the body. Third, write 1 line of intention in a physical notebook, not a digital file. For example, today I will notice when wrongness arises, and ask what it wants. These 3 actions anchor coherence before the day fragments into tasks and triggers. Over 21 days, the brain begins to favor noticing over reaction, and the field around you responds with more synchronicity. Cultivate the skill of immediate boundary setting as an expression of respect for your energetic field. Wrong feelings often announce that a boundary has been crossed internally or externally. Practice a short neutral script you can use in conversation, not to blame but to conserve clarity. Something like, "I am noticing a strong reaction right now and I need a moment to respond." Offer that sentence and step away if possible for a short breath cycle. This action models containment and prevents escalation. Boundaries do not have to be dramatic. They can be micro pauses that preserve coherence and keep the field aligned. Reframe failure and wrongness as calibration, not catastrophe. In the quantum sense, wrongness is feedback from the field saying you are moving into new territory and your old map no longer fits. When a project fails or a relationship misfires, hold the experience in a practice of inquiry. What data did this give me? What belief am I testing? And what tiny next step honors both care and momentum? Replace grand narratives about identity with specific inventory about method. This keeps the ego intact while allowing the self to be fluid. Identity is not a fixed island, it is an instrument that must be tuned. Create a ritual for evening integration so that the day's wrongness becomes a teacher, not a wound. Before sleep, review 3 moments where you felt wrong and note 1 small insight for each. Close each note by thanking the feeling for its honesty and stating 1 physical action to try tomorrow, even if it is small. This ritual trains the nervous system to partner with feelings, not avoid them. Over time, the body learns that wrongness leads to clarity and stops triggering fight or flight at the first hint of discomfort. Surround yourself with minimal energetic hygiene. Small changes in environment have large effects. Declutter 1 surface in your living space, clear the area where you eat or sleep, and place a physical object that signals calm. A smooth stone, a plant, or a simple light. Visual cues prime the nervous system towards safety, allowing feelings of wrongness to be processed with less threat. Soundscapes matter too. Consider short playlists that support presence and breath and use them during your reset practices. Practice compassionate curiosity toward the stories that animate wrongness. When the inner voice says you are flawed, imagine speaking to a younger version of yourself who believed that truth, and offer them a single sentence that rewrites the narrative. For example, "You did your best then and you can choose differently now." This inner reparenting shifts the emotional valence of the memory and reduces the intensity of the current feeling. Compassion is not indulgence. It is practical nervous system regulation. Link decisions to higher coherence rather than fleeting approval. Wrong feelings often come from misalignment between action and deeper values. Create a 5-word check for choice before acting. Does this honor my energy today? If the answer is no, postpone, adjust, or decline. This simple rule prevents repeated dips into wrongness and builds integrity over time. Integrity is not grand gestures. It is the accumulation of consistent small choices that align internal state with external action. Trusting the practice requires patience and disciplined gentleness. There will be days when wrongness floods and the strategies barely hold. On those days, return to the most basic element of all: the breath, the hand, the naming. Do the smallest practice possible and resist the temptation to analyze more. Embodied coherence grows through repeated small returns, not dramatic overhauls. The final integration collapses practice into presence. As the feeling of wrongness arrives and you move through the reset, the naming, the breath, the movement, and the micro-action, you will notice the field around you respond, aligning circumstance with the new internal clarity. This is the quantum shift. Coherence emerges when inner and outer vibrate in sync. Over months, the frequency of painful wrongness will decrease, not because life stops offering friction, but because your relationship to friction becomes a source of intelligence and invitation. Close the chapter by planting your hand over your heart. Take 3 long, deliberate breaths, and speak 1 commitment aloud. I will listen to my wrongness and act from curiosity. Carry this sentence as a compass, not a rule. Use it to navigate the small moments each day. The feeling that once suggested flaw will gradually reveal itself as a guide and ally. What felt like failure becomes transmission. What felt like error becomes refinement. You are tuning an instrument, a field, and a life toward increasing coherence, and the sacred key was inside you all along. 2. Trust discomfort as proof your energy field is evolving. Discomfort is not an enemy. It is the whisper of evolution moving through you. When life feels heavy, tight, or uncertain, your energy field is stretching beyond its old edges. You may believe something is breaking, but in truth, something is breaking open. This is the sacred threshold between who you have been and who you are becoming. Albert Einstein once said that no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. That insight lives at the heart of quantum change. When discomfort arises, you are being called to rise into a new level of consciousness, where solutions, possibilities, and pathways that were once invisible can finally be seen. Think of the body as a finely tuned antenna. Every time discomfort shakes you, it is tuning your frequency higher, sharpening your ability to sense alignment, and exposing places where you still carry the static of fear or habit. Instead of running from the sensation, pause and notice its texture. Maybe it feels like pressure in your chest, or heat in your face, or a restless pulse in your hands. That is energy reorganizing. That is the field adjusting its rhythm. It feels wrong not because you are failing, but because you are in motion, and your nervous system is still learning to stabilize inside this new frequency. When you see discomfort in this way, it becomes less of a threat and more of a messenger. Imagine a butterfly struggling inside its cocoon. To someone watching, it may appear painful and even cruel. Yet if the butterfly were rescued too soon, it would never build the strength required to fly. Your discomfort is the same training ground. It is creating resilience, clarity, and power within you that no comfort zone could ever provide. The difference is whether you fight the feeling or trust its purpose. Trust does not mean pretending it feels good. Trust means staying present enough to listen. Ask yourself simple questions when discomfort arises. What belief in me is being challenged? What action is being asked of me? What truth is trying to surface? Sometimes the answer comes as a clear thought, other times as an impulse to rest, move, speak, or create. Trust is built by honoring even the smallest whisper. The more you follow the signal, the clearer your inner guidance becomes, and the stronger your alignment with the quantum field of evolution. Discomfort often appears in moments of growth, disguised as doubt. When you start a new project, doubt says you are not ready. When you step into a deeper relationship, doubt whispers you will be hurt. When you try to change a habit, doubt insists you will fail again. Yet the very presence of doubt proves you are moving into new territory. You are stepping beyond the known map of your mind, into the quantum field where all possibilities exist. If there were no discomfort, it would mean you were standing still, repeating the same patterns. The fact that you feel stretched proves you are expanding. Energy work is not abstract. When it comes to discomfort, the body itself carries the evidence. Notice how your breath changes when you are uncomfortable. It becomes shallow, fast, or even held. This is a survival response, but it is also a doorway. By slowing the breath and expanding the exhale, you signal to your body that it is safe to remain open. This single act transforms discomfort into information. A long exhale tells your nervous system you can process the energy rather than shut it down. Try it in the middle of tension, and watch how space appears where panic once lived. Each time you face discomfort and remain present, your energy field expands in coherence. Coherence means harmony between heart, brain, and body. It means you stop scattering energy across fear stories and redirect it into aligned presence. Scientists studying heart-brain coherence have shown that the electromagnetic field of the heart becomes more ordered when a person shifts into states of trust and gratitude. This ordered field not only affects your own body, it influences the environment around you. In this way, your willingness to trust discomfort does not only transform you, it radiates stability to others. You may ask how long discomfort will last. The truth is, it lasts until you have received its lesson. Sometimes that lesson is rapid, a single moment of courage to speak the truth. Other times it unfolds slowly over months of practice, where you continue returning to breath, boundaries, and clarity. The length is less important than your orientation. If you treat discomfort as proof of failure, it grows heavy. If you treat it as proof of growth, it becomes lighter and easier to hold. The same sensation transforms depending on the story you attach to it. Consider the moments in your past where discomfort eventually revealed its gift. Think back to the times you were rejected only to discover new opportunities you could not have imagined. Recall the heartbreaks that broke you open into deeper compassion. Remember the struggles that sharpened your discipline and forged strength that later carried you through bigger challenges. These memories are proof that discomfort carries wisdom. It is not random suffering. It is structured guidance. The quantum field uses discomfort as a way to reorient you toward coherence and alignment. You can make this practical today. When discomfort rises, pause for 3 breaths. Name the exact feeling in simple words, not stories. Then ask, what shift is this calling me to make? Take one small action in alignment with the answer. If the discomfort is physical tension, maybe the action is a walk. If it is emotional tightness, maybe the action is speaking truth. If it is mental chaos, maybe the action is simplifying your task list. These small actions matter. They signal to your energy field that you are participating in evolution, not resisting it. The key is remembering that your field is alive. It is not static or every thought, every breath, every choice reorganizes it. Discomfort is the vibration of reorganization. When you hold it with trust, you are partnering with the intelligence of the universe itself. In quantum terms, the field is responsive. It mirrors the level of order you carry. By trusting discomfort, you maintain order even in chaos. And that order pulls new outcomes toward you. Growth is rarely quiet. It is messy, loud, and often disorienting. But within the mess, there is meaning. Every challenge is a sacred mirror showing where you have more power to claim, more love to embody, more presence to radiate. Discomfort is that mirror. Without it, you would remain asleep inside patterns that no longer serve you. With it, you awaken to your next evolution. So the next time you feel restless, anxious, or wrong, do not ask, how do I get rid of this? Ask, what is this asking me to become? That single shift of question changes the trajectory of your life. It moves you from fighting against yourself into collaborating with the field of infinite possibility. This is how resilience is built. Not by eliminating discomfort, but by building such deep trust in its purpose that you no longer collapse when it arrives. Your path is not to avoid pain, but to recognize it as a doorway. Each time you trust it, you walk through another threshold. Each time you breathe into it, you align with a higher rhythm. Each time you act in coherence despite it, you expand into more of who you truly are. Discomfort is not the proof of weakness. Discomfort is the proof of evolution. And as you continue to meet it with trust, your entire field becomes an instrument tuned to the frequency of growth. This is where transformation lives. This is where your life begins to match the vast potential waiting for you in the quantum field. 3. Awaken awareness by seeing struggle as pure creative fuel. Struggle is not a punishment. It is not a sign that life has turned against you. Struggle is the very fire that forges your next evolution. What feels heavy or unbearable is often the exact pressure that cracks open the seed of your hidden potential. The energy of struggle is raw and untamed, yet within it lies a pure creative force waiting to be directed. Niels Bohr, one of the pioneers of quantum theory, once said that the opposite of a profound truth may well be another profound truth. This is the paradox of struggle. On the surface, it feels like limitation. Beneath the surface, it is the birthplace of limitless possibility. When you awaken awareness to see struggle differently, the story begins to shift. Instead of believing you are stuck, you begin to see that life is rearranging itself around you. Every friction, every challenge, every block is not there to destroy you, but to ignite energy inside you that has been dormant. Awareness is the bridge that allows you to step out of collapse and into creation. Without awareness, struggle feels like chaos. With awareness, struggle becomes fuel that powers invention, resilience, and expansion. Look closely at your own journey. Some of your greatest strengths were born in the moments you once hated. The times you were forced to start over taught you courage. The days you lost direction sharpened your clarity. The heartbreaks carved deeper compassion. Struggle never leaves you empty. It leaves you equipped. The key is whether you recognize the energy it carries, or whether you waste it in resistance. When you resist, the energy of struggle locks your body and mind into contraction. When you embrace it as creative fuel, that same energy begins to move through you as drive, vision, and boldness. In the language of the quantum field, struggle is energy seeking a new arrangement. The field is constantly shifting, reconfiguring patterns, breaking down what no longer fits, and drawing in new potential. That process does not always feel smooth. To the human nervous system, it often feels like loss, confusion, or difficult. But from a higher view, It is simply energy reorganizing into more coherence. Your struggle is the signal that old patterns are dissolving, and a new structure is being born. What looks like breakdown is often breakthrough preparing to reveal itself. The practice is to meet struggle with awareness, instead of unconscious reaction. The next time you face struggle, pause and name what it actually feels like in your body. Maybe it is tightness, restlessness, or fatigue. Then ask yourself, if this energy were fuel, how could I direct it? If the struggle is with finances, the fuel may be directed into discipline and creativity to discover new opportunities. If the struggle is emotional, the fuel may be directed into deeper honesty and connection. If the struggle is physical, the fuel may be directed into rebuilding strength or adjusting how you care for yourself. In every case, the energy is real. The question is whether it drains you or drives you. Awareness also means shifting language. Instead of saying, I am stuck, try I am in the middle of transformation. Instead of I cannot handle this, try I am training for the next version of me. These are not empty affirmations. They are conscious rewrites of the story you tell your nervous system. The brain responds to the story it hears most often. When you choose a story that frames struggle as creative energy, your body begins to align with possibility rather than collapse. Notice how innovators, artists, and leaders often speak about struggle as their greatest teacher. The inventions that change history are rarely born in comfort. They are born in pressing questions and failure after failure, in tension that demands new answers. The same is true for your life. Each struggle is your personal laboratory. Each obstacle is a raw material. Each setback is the pressure that awakens a deeper intelligence in you. When you frame life in this way, struggle stops being a weight you carry and becomes a current you can ride. Awareness is not passive. It requires discipline. It requires catching yourself in the moment of contraction and choosing a new response. It requires noticing when you are spiraling in complaint, and instead asking, how can I use this? It requires turning attention away from self-blame and toward self-mastery. This is not about denying pain or pretending to enjoy hardship. It is about recognizing that the pain carries energy, and that energy can either destroy you or empower you depending on how you hold it. The body teaches this truth every time you train it. When you exercise, you deliberately enter struggle. Muscles strain and burn, yet that very struggle builds strength. If you resisted all discomfort, the body would weaken. The same law applies to your spirit and mind. The struggles you face are the weights that grow your resilience. Without them, you remain fragile. With them, you become unbreakable. Awareness turns this from an unconscious process into a conscious practice. Practical action amplifies awareness. Create a simple ritual each time struggle appears. Pause, breathe deeply, and say to yourself, this is fuel, I will use it. Then channel the energy into one aligned step, however small. Write one page, make one call, speak one truth. Take one action that moves the energy forward. The more you practice this, the more your nervous system learns to associate struggle with empowerment rather than collapse. Soon the very sensation of challenge will become a trigger for creativity. You can see this clearly when looking at nature. Rivers carve canyons through rock, not by avoiding resistance, but by flowing with relentless persistence. Seeds sprout only by breaking their outer shell. Stars are born from the collapse of cosmic struggle, pressure so intense it ignites light. Life itself uses struggle as fuel for creation at every scale. You are not separate from this design. The same principle is alive in your journey. The tension you feel is not meaningless. It is nature shaping you into your next form. Remember also that struggle connects you to others. The very energy that feels heavy is the bridge of empathy. When you share your struggle honestly, you give others permission to do the same. Connection deepens, and collective strength emerges. What was once a private weight becomes a shared fuel. Communities and movements are born this way, not out of ease, but out of shared struggle transformed into shared vision. The wisdom of the quantum field reminds us that energy cannot be destroyed. It only transforms. Your struggle is energy. It cannot erase you, but it can reshape you. When you awaken awareness to this, you begin to see every challenge as raw material. You stop asking, why me, and begin asking what can be created through this. That question alone shifts your frequency from victimhood to authorship. You stop waiting for circumstances to change, and you start participating in the creation of your next reality. At first, this shift feels subtle, but over time it changes everything. You become less afraid of challenges because you know they carry gift. You become less reactive to pain because you recognize it as energy. You become more resilient because you learn to ride waves instead of drown in them. Awareness turns life into a creative collaboration rather than a battle to survive. Struggle is not here to steal your life, it is here to ignite it. Within every difficulty lies a spark of creative force waiting for your attention. When you awaken awareness, you stop seeing struggle as an enemy and start seeing it as a sacred force. And when you learn to use its fuel, you stop living at the mercy of circumstance and begin living as a co-creator with the quantum field. That is the moment you step into true power. That is the moment you realize that every struggle you face is not blocking your path. It is your 4. Shift inner state instantly by choosing presence over fear. Fear always enters like a shadow. It pulls your mind into future what-ifs and worst-case outcomes. It races through your body with tightness, restlessness, and shallow breath. Presence, however, is the exact opposite frequency. It anchors you into what is real now, the ground beneath your feet, the breath filling your lungs, the rhythm of life moving in this moment. To shift instantly from fear to presence is not just a mental trick, it is a quantum act. You move from one frequency to another, from incoherence to coherence, from survival to creation. Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, once said, "All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle to vibration." Presence is that force. It is the vibration that organizes chaos into clarity. Fear convinces you that your safety depends on control. It tricks you into believing that if you can predict and manage every outcome, you will be free from danger. But the truth is, control drains your energy while presence restores. Presence does not ask you to manage every variable. It invites you to open to the intelligence of this moment and trust that it carries exactly what is needed. When you shift into presence, your entire field begins to reorganize. Thoughts slow down, your breath deepens, and suddenly you see options that fear had hidden from view. This shift is immediate when you know how to choose it. Begin with the body, because the body does not lie. When fear grips you, notice your posture. Are your shoulders curled inward? Is your jaw tight? Is your breath shallow? Change one of these signals right now. Drop your shoulders back, unclench your jaw, inhale deeply, and place your hand over your heart. That single gesture interrupts fear's cycle and sends a clear message to your nervous system. I am safe to be here now. The body listens, and the field follows. Awareness expands the practice. Fear lives in stories. Presence lives in sensation. When you catch yourself lost in fearful stories about what might happen, redirect attention to what you can sense. Look at what is actually in front of you. Name the shapes, the colors, the sounds. Feel the ground. Hear your own breath. This does not solve every problem instantly, but it dissolves the illusion that you are powerless. The simple act of noticing awakens choice, and choice is where transformation begins. Fear often disguises itself as urgency. It tells you there is no time, that you must act fast or everything will collapse. But urgency is rarely real. It is the nervous system in overdrive. Presence slows this cycle and creates space. In that space, wisdom appears. You see clearly whether action is needed or whether stillness is the higher response. Sometimes presence calls you to speak a boundary. Sometimes it calls you to take bold steps. Other times it calls you to wait. Whatever the call, it always arises from coherence, not panic. Consider how this operates in relationships. When fear takes over, you react defensively, interpret words through suspicion, and create distance. But when you choose presence, you listen fully. You respond rather than react. You see the person beyond the argument. This single choice transforms conflict into connection. It is not about suppressing fear, but about meeting it with presence, so it cannot dominate your field. Every relationship becomes a mirror of whether you choose presence or fear in each interaction. Quantum physics reminds us that observation shapes reality. What you focus on grows more real. When you observe from fear, you collapse possibilities into narrow survival pathways. When you observe from presence, the field of infinite outcomes remains open. This is why the quality of your attention is so powerful. Choosing presence is not passive. It literally shapes the reality you step into. You are collapsing the wave into a particle, deciding what becomes real through the lens you choose. This is not philosophy. It is lived physics. Practical application makes this more than theory. Each time fear arises, train yourself to pause and ask, What is true in this moment, right now? Not what might happen tomorrow. Not what happened yesterday, but what is real here. Usually you will find that in this breath, in this body, you are safe. The fear is about projection, not reality. Returning again and again to this truth builds trust in presence. Over time, presence becomes your default state rather than fear. Your nervous system is plastic. It rewires based on repetition. Every time you choose presence over fear, you are carving new neural pathways. At first it feels effortful, but with practice, it becomes natural. Imagine the difference between a dirt trail and a paved road. The more you walk the path of presence, the smoother and easier it becomes. Eventually, the path of fear begins to fade from disuse. This is how you reprogram your inner state, not by force but by consistent choice. Notice how your creativity shifts when you are present. Fear locks you into repetitive loops, always recycling old survival patterns. Presence opens the channel to fresh ideas, insights, and solutions. The mind becomes fluid rather than rigid. You begin to see connections you had missed, opportunities you had ignored, answers that were always near but hidden behind the fog of fear. Presence is the state where creativity thrives because the energy once trapped in worry is now free for imagination. Presence also expands your sense of time. Fear contracts time, making you feel as though everything must be resolved immediately. Presence expands time, reminding you that transformation unfolds step by step. You stop demanding instant resolution and start moving with rhythm. This rhythm aligns with the natural flow of the universe. It is the rhythm rivers follow as they carve valleys. The rhythm trees follow as they grow silently and steadily toward light. Fear disconnects you from this rhythm. Presence reconnects you. In the silence of presence, you realize that fear was never about the outer world. It was always a reflection of inner disconnection. The moment you reconnect to yourself, fear loses its power. This is not about eliminating fear forever. It is about no longer letting fear dictate your choice. Fear becomes background noise, while presence becomes the guiding signal. Think of the people you admire most. They are not fearless. They are anchored. They have trained themselves to return again and again to presence. When crisis hits, they do not collapse. They breathe. When uncertainty rises, they do not freeze. They move with clarity. This is available to you as well. The difference is not talent or luck. It is practice. The practice of presence builds a foundation stronger than any wave of fear. You can begin right now. Close your eyes. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Repeat this until your body softens. Place your awareness on the sensation of breath filling your chest. Notice the beating of your heart. Allow yourself to feel the weight of your body supported. In this space, notice that nothing is missing. Nothing is threatening you. Nothing is broken. This is presence. Each time you practice it, you make it easier to access in moments of fear. Over time, presence will become your anchor in the storms of life. You will still feel fear, but it will no longer hijack you. Instead, it will be a signal reminding you to return. Fear will arise, and you will answer it with presence. And every time you do, you strengthen your coherence with the quantum field. You move in rhythm with the force that holds stars in galaxies and keeps oceans in motion. Your life does not need to be dictated by fear. You hold the choice in every breath, in every moment, in every heartbeat. Choose presence, and you align with clarity. Choose presence, and you awaken resilience. Choose presence, and you embody the truth that the field itself is waiting for you to remember. You are not here to survive in fear. You are here to create from presence. 5. Strengthen resilience by aligning daily actions with higher flow. Resilience is not simply the ability to endure. It is the art of living in rhythm with forces greater than yourself. True resilience does not mean pushing harder, gritting your teeth, or carrying the weight of the world on your back. It means learning to align your daily actions with the higher flow of life, so that instead of being crushed by pressure, you are carried forward by momentum. The river does not strain to move. It flows because it is aligned with gravity, depth, and direction. You too are meant to flow with an intelligence that is already guiding everything around you. As the great quantum physicist David Bohm once said, in the quantum world, everything is unfolded into everything. This is not philosophy. It is instruction. You are not separate from the flow. You are inside it, and your resilience is born from how well you align with it. When life feels heavy, it is usually because you are moving against that higher current. You are forcing what wants to unfold naturally, clinging to what wants to release, or trying to control what is meant to surprise you. Resistance drains your energy, and with time it erodes your spirit. Flow restores it. Alignment is not about giving up. It is about learning where your effort meets grace. When your daily actions harmonize with the deeper rhythm of your being, resilience arises without strain. You can meet challenges with steadiness, because you are not fighting reality, you are working with it. To strengthen resilience through alignment, you must first learn to listen. Every day, subtle signals speak through your body and environment. When you feel energized after a task, that is flow affirming your choice. When you feel depleted, tense, or restless, that is feedback that you are out of sync. Awareness of these signals is the compass for alignment. Too often people ignore them, pushing forward in misaligned directions, until exhaustion breaks them. Resilience is not built by ignoring signals, it is built by respecting them. When you listen to the quiet whispers, you prevent life from needing to shout through crisis. Daily alignment begins with small acts. The way you start your morning sets the tone for the field you carry into the day. If you reach first for your phone, you scatter your attention into chaos before you even rise. If you begin with breath, with stillness, or with intentional movement, you align with clarity. These micro-choices are not trivial. They are energetic declarations. Each one tells the quantum field how you intend to meet the day. Resilience is not forged only in great battles. It is shaped in these ordinary choices repeated until they form a rhythm of coherence. Notice how food, sleep, and movement are also acts of alignment. When you eat what clouds your body, your energy field becomes dull, and every challenge feels heavier. When you nourish yourself with what brings clarity, resilience feels natural. When you neglect rest, your nervous system becomes reactive, and fear gains control. When you honor rest, presence remains stable, and your responses are wise. These daily actions might seem simple, yet they determine whether you are resisting life or moving with it. Flow is not abstract. It lives in the way you breathe, the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you honor your body. There will always be challenges. Flow does not remove obstacles. It teaches you how to meet them without collapse. Imagine a tree in the storm. If it is rigid, if it bends, it survives. Resilience is the bending of your energy without losing your roots. To bend, you must release control over outcomes and return instead to alignment with principles. Principles like integrity, truth, and coherence never fail, even if results take longer than expected. When you choose actions that match these principles, you become unshakable. You may fall, but you rise faster because your roots are deep in flow. Practical exercises help to anchor this. At the end of each day, pause and reflect. Which actions today felt aligned, and which felt forced? Which moments gave me energy, and which drained it? Then choose one action tomorrow to amplify what aligned and one action to release what resisted. This practice trains your nervous system to continuously recalibrate toward flow. With time, resilience is no longer about reacting to crises, but about preventing them through alignment. Resilience also requires honesty about the difference between effort and struggle. Resilience is also strengthened by connection. Higher flow is not an isolated current. It is a shared river. When you align with it, you naturally align with others who are attuned to the same rhythm. Support, collaboration, and compassion expand. You no longer feel alone in your challenges, because you sense the greater intelligence moving through people and circumstances. This awareness dissolves the illusion of separation, which is the root of much fear. The quantum field is one whole. When you act from that truth, resilience becomes collective. Every moment you face offers a choice: fear or flow, resistance or alignment, collapse or coherence. The choice is not always easy, but it is always available. Strengthening resilience means building the discipline to choose flow again and again, until it becomes your natural orientation. It means catching yourself when you tighten, and softening back into trust. It means noticing when you overextend, and returning to balance. It means living as if life is not happening to you but through you. This is not about passivity. Flow does not mean waiting for everything to arrive at your feet. It means engaging fully with life. But from a state of alignment, you act with boldness, but you do not waste energy fighting the current. You work with the natural intelligence of timing. You push when the wave rises, and you rest when it falls. You become resilient, not because you overpower life, but because you harmonize with it. Think of your greatest challenges. Each one tested your resilience, but each one also revealed strength you did not know you had. That strength came when you stopped resisting and allowed yourself to adapt. This is what alignment with higher flow creates: adaptability without losing integrity, flexibility without losing direction. It is the ability to move through chaos without collapsing into it. This is the essence of resilience, and it is available in every breath. Your life becomes a testament to this truth. Each aligned action is a declaration that you trust the intelligence of the field. Each moment of flow becomes a seed of resilience. With time, people around you will notice that you do not break under pressure. You bend, you rise, you continue. They will see that your strength does not come from force but from alignment, and that alignment makes you unstoppable. Resilience is not what you think it is. It is not toughness. It is not suppression. It is coherence with higher flow. When your daily actions align with that rhythm, you step into a field of strength that never runs dry. You are carried, supported, and expanded by forces far greater than your own effort. And from that place, resilience is not a fight. It is simply who you are becoming. 6. Release resistance by opening fully to quantum-guided movement. Resistance is the silent anchor that keeps you tethered to limitation. It shows up as hesitation, tension, and the mental arguments that tell you you cannot move forward. Every time you grip, hold, or try to control, you are locking the energy of your life into patterns that no longer serve you. The quantum field, however, operates differently. It is not bound by struggle or control. It responds to openness, intention, and movement that flows with its intelligence. Niels Bohr, one of the architects of quantum physics, said, "Prediction is very difficult, especially about the future. This is the invitation to stop resisting what cannot be controlled, and to trust movement guided by the field itself." Resistance contracts energy. Surrendering to guided movement expands it. Opening fully to quantum guidance begins with the body. The body is the immediate sensor of energy. Notice how tension resides in the shoulders, the jaw, the stomach. These are physical manifestations of resistance, subtle yet powerful. The first step is not to fight them but to breathe into them, to soften, to allow the sensations to exist without judgment. By opening the chest, relaxing the jaw, and lengthening the spine, you create space for energy to flow. Space is the precondition for movement. Without it, the field cannot guide you. Every thought of doubt or fear signals resistance. Observe it without attaching meaning. Watch how the mind wants to tell a story about why you cannot act, why you must wait, or why the outcome is impossible. This narrative is not reality. It is habitual interference. When you release the story, you release the block. Notice the sensation of relief that spreads through your body the moment you let go. That is energy aligning with its intended path. The quantum field does not force. It unfolds when you are ready to receive. Movement in this context is not always physical. Sometimes it is a shift in perspective, a change in intention, or a subtle choice to respond differently. The field communicates through impulses, nudges, and synchronicities. When you open fully, you recognize them. Perhaps an idea suddenly appears in your mind. A person reaches out at the right moment, or a solution arrives that you could not have foreseen. These are not coincidences. They are signals that the field is in motion, and your role is to release control and follow. Daily practices help strengthen this capacity. Begin by dedicating moments to conscious surrender. Sit quietly and observe the breath. Notice tension in the body and let it soften. Picture the energy of your life moving like water through your system. Imagine resistance as a small obstruction in a river, and allow it to dissolve as the water continues its path. By practicing in small increments, you train your nervous system to recognize that surrender does not mean weakness. It means intelligent participation with the larger flow. Releasing resistance also requires trust in timing. The quantum field operates in rhythms beyond your perception. Immediate outcomes are not necessary for movement to occur. Often the field sets up a sequence of events that are perfectly timed for maximum impact. Your impatience is resisted. By accepting that timing is orchestrated by intelligence greater than the mind can grasp, you free yourself from frustration. Every pause, delay, and unexpected turn becomes part of the guidance, not an obstacle. Fear often disguises itself as caution. The moment you feel hesitation, notice it as resistance. Ask yourself, is this fear guarding me from danger, or is it holding me back from quantum guidance? Most often fear is habitual, not protective. Release it by taking the smallest aligned action despite it. That single step signals to your field that you are ready to cooperate with life rather than resist it. The field responds, energy opens, and the next step appears more clearly. Movement amplifies clarity. Resistance clouds it. Observe how nature operates without resistance. Rivers bend around rocks. Trees grow toward light. The wind moves around obstacles. There is no fight, yet all growth is achieved. Humans are part of this same system. Every act of resistance is a friction that slows evolution. Every act of opening is an alignment that accelerates it. When you watch the body, mind, and environment interact with ease, you understand that the intelligence of the field is always moving forward. Your alignment simply allows you to ride its current rather than struggle against it. Resistance is also emotional and psychological. Old beliefs about inadequacy, fear of judgment, or attachment to outcomes create invisible blocks. Release occurs when you consciously recognize these narratives and step beyond them. Speak the truth of your experience to yourself without blame. Feel the weight in your chest, allow tears if necessary, and affirm, I am open to guidance greater than my fear. This is a practical signal to the quantum field that you are willing to move beyond old constraints. Your daily actions compound the relief. Each choice you make with awareness, pausing before reacting, listening before judging, moving before resisting, creates a habit of cooperation with the field. Over time, you notice that life feels lighter, solutions arrive faster, and synchronicities are more frequent. The field is no longer a distant theory, it becomes tangible. Energy flows in alignment with your intentions, and resistance diminishes naturally. You are no longer stuck in struggle, but participating in a continuous dance with creation itself. This does not mean you eliminate challenge. Life will always present friction, but friction is no longer a trap. It becomes a point of awareness. Where am I resisting? And where can I open? The conscious release of resistance transforms challenge into guidance. You learn to distinguish between effort aligned with purpose and struggle caused by stubbornness. The quantum field supports aligned effort, magnifies it, and redirects wasted energy. Your resilience is strengthened, because energy is no longer leaking into resistance, but flowing into possibility. When you open fully to quantum-guided movement, the body, mind, and spirit align. Breath deepens, heart rate steadies, and clarity arises. Decisions feel lighter, actions feel more natural. Challenges are approached with curiosity rather than tension. Even uncertainty becomes fertile because you are no longer trying to control it. Your presence in each moment becomes the lever that moves reality, and the field responds with guidance that was invisible to the mind locked in resistance. Integration occurs when openness becomes habitual. Notice when you begin to grip, tighten, or control. Pause. Breathe. Soften. Ask, what is the simplest aligned step I can take here? Often that step is intuitive, spontaneous, and small. Yet it carries tremendous power because it signals to the field that you are participating fully. Momentum begins to accumulate, creating waves of coherence that ripple through every area of life. Resistance cannot survive in this space because you have chosen alignment repeatedly. The transformation is profound. You are no longer at odds with life. You are a participant in a dynamic, intelligent system. Challenges continue to arise, but each becomes an invitation to expand, rather than a threat to collapse. Energy moves effortlessly through you. Creativity, insight, and resilience are amplified. What once felt heavy and immovable now moves with grace. The quantum field is no longer abstract. It is your lived reality, responding to your willingness to release resistance and follow its guide. The practice is simple, but it is not easy. Notice tension, breathe into it, soften, and act in alignment with guidance. Repeat with consistency. Watch how small moments accumulate into massive transformation. Life feels lighter, freer, and more connected. You become magnetic to opportunity because you are no longer pushing against reality. Resistance melts into flow, struggle transforms into movement, and every action becomes a collaboration with the infinite intelligence that surrounds you. Your evolution is in your hand. Every time you choose openness over control, trust over fear, and movement over stagnation, you reinforce the path of alignment. You learn that surrender is not defeat, but mastery. Resistance is revealed for what it is, a signpost directing you toward the next quantum step. And when you follow, the field responds. Life unfolds effortlessly, and you discover that the power you were seeking was always available within your willingness to open fully and move in harmony with the intelligence of the universe. 7. Activate clarity through embodying stillness within constant change. Stillness is not emptiness. It is the center from which all clarity emerges, the calm eye within the storm of life's constant change. While the world moves in chaos, decisions shift, relationships evolve, and circumstances fluctuate. The mind often tries to keep pace by reacting, planning, or controlling. This reaction scatters energy and clouds perception. Clarity does not arise from efforting more. It arises from embodying stillness in the midst of flux. Werner Heisenberg, one of the founders of quantum mechanics, observed that what we observe is not nature itself, but nature exposed to our method of questioning. Stillness is your method of questioning, your anchor to perceive life beyond the distortions of reactive thought. The body is the doorway to stillness. Each sensation, each breath, each heartbeat carries information about your inner state. When the mind races, the body tightens. When the mind panics, the nervous system contracts. By returning attention to the body, feeling the feet on the ground, sensing the lungs expanding, noticing the pulse of your own heart, you immediately create a center of coherence. This is not an escape from change. It is the platform from which you engage change with clarity and power. Stillness does not resist life. It observes and amplifies it. Thoughts of uncertainty or overwhelm are the mind's attempt to control what it cannot. Stillness dissolves this illusion by showing that clarity does not depend on eliminating change. Instead, clarity depends on presence. By embodying presence, you witness the fluctuations of life without being swept away by them. Imagine a lake. In the midst of wind, the surface may ripple and churn, but the depth remains calm and undisturbed. Your stillness is that depth. Beneath the surface of external motion lies the intelligence of coherence that perceives all possibilities clearly. Daily practice is essential for embedding this clarity into lived experience. Begin with micro moments of pause. When you wake, before rushing, inhale deeply and notice the sensation of the breath. Throughout the day, pause before speaking, before deciding, and even before reacting. In each pause, allow stillness to settle into your awareness. Observe how your energy subtly shifts. You are no longer scattered, no longer overcommitted, no longer grasping. In this state, clarity is not an effort. It is a natural outcome. Stillness also aligns the nervous system with the intelligence of the quantum field. The field responds to coherent energy. Scattered, anxious, or reactive energy creates interference that obscures guidance. When you embody stillness, your energy becomes a clear signal. Solutions appear, synchronicities emerge, and insights arrive in ways that were invisible in reactive states. The simplest action, or the most unexpected idea, often becomes clear only after stillness has anchored your perception. Einstein noted that imagination is more important than knowledge, because clarity is born when we step outside the habitual linear patterns of thought. Stillness is the medium for this imagination. The paradox of stillness within change is profound. You are not stopping life. You are participating more intelligently in it. While others are caught in the urgency of circumstances, your perception expands. Decisions that once seemed impossible become obvious. Paths that seemed blocked now appear fluid. Stillness does not freeze the field. It magnifies it. It is the lens that allows you to see without distortion, to act without reaction, and to navigate without confusion. Every choice is informed by the quiet depth of presence rather than the noise of anxiety. Observe nature as a teacher. Trees sway in storms, yet their roots hold deep in the soil. Rivers bend around obstacles, yet water continues to flow. Stars shine steadily, even as galaxies collide. In each case, stillness is embodied in the center, allowing change to move around without destroying coherence. Your clarity is cultivated in exactly the same way, by rooting attention in the present moment, while allowing life to move freely around you. Stability does not come from holding everything steady. It comes from creating an unshakable inner axis. Stillness also transforms emotional turbulence. Strong feelings, when unobserved, drive decisions based on reactivity, fear, or desire. By returning to stillness, you witness emotions without judgment. You recognize them as energy passing through, not commands that must dictate action. Anger, sadness, or frustration can then be harnessed as information rather than obstruction. The clarity that emerges allows you to respond with wisdom rather than react impulsively. Emotional intelligence is inseparable from the practice of inner stillness. Integration into daily life requires embodiment beyond thought. Posture, breath, and intention are all part of maintaining clarity. Stand or sit tall. Soften tension and synchronize movement with breath. Each step, each gesture, each interaction becomes an extension of stillness. In doing so, your clarity is not merely cognitive. It is kinetic, lived, and palpable to others. People respond not just to your words but to the energy coherence that radiates from your presence. Challenges and change will continue. Life is never static. Stillness does not prevent obstacles or remove complexity. Instead, it provides a space from which you can see the totality of your circumstances, weigh options, and act with precision. Each decision becomes a conscious alignment with reality, not a reactive attempt to force outcome. In this way, stillness is both shield and tool. It protects your energy while sharpening your ability to act with clarity. Practical exercises amplify this effect. Begin each day with a period of silent observation. Close the eyes, feel the body, notice sensations, and let the mind settle without forcing thought. During the day, return to this anchor whenever overwhelm arises. Even 1 minute of intentional stillness interrupts the habitual swirl of distraction and tension, reconnecting you to the depth of clarity that resides at your core. Over time, these micro-practices compound into a state of natural coherence. Stillness allows insight to arise from the quantum field. In its presence, intuition becomes sharper. Ideas emerge more fluidly, and complex problems appear simpler. This clarity is not forced. It is a natural resonance with the underlying intelligence of life. You stop asking the mind for every answer, and instead let the field reveal what is appropriate for the moment. The more deeply you embody stillness, the more reliable and consistent this clarity becomes. Even in the midst of rapid change, stillness maintains an unbroken line of perception. It allows you to navigate transitions, pivot when needed, and act decisively without being swept away by fear or distraction. Life continues to move, yet you are anchored. Each breath, each pause, each intentional step reinforces coherence and strengthens the ability to perceive truth amid flux. Clarity is a skill that grows only through consistent engagement with presence. Stillness also cultivates patience. In the absence of calm observation, the mind projects timelines, imagines worst-case scenarios, and multiplies pressure. Embodied stillness dissolves these projections. You learn to trust process, rhythm, and timing. This trust is the source of resilience, allowing you to move with precision rather than anxiety. Change is inevitable, but your response becomes deliberate. The field aligns to your clarity, because your energy is no longer scattered. Ultimately, clarity emerges not from doing more but from being more. By embodying stillness, you allow life to speak, energy to flow, and intelligence to reveal itself. Challenges, uncertainties, and changes are no longer obstacles but invitations to deepen presence. Your inner state becomes the source of insight, and every decision, every action, and every moment is informed by the coherence you carry. Stillness is the ultimate tool for activation. It anchors perception, amplifies intuition, and transforms reactive energy into creative power. In the ever-shifting field of life, clarity is not an external gift. It is the natural consequence of inhabiting the depth of your own presence. Each breath, each heartbeat, each step taken from stillness strengthens this capacity. The more fully you embody it, the more luminous and unshakable your clarity becomes. Your clarity, grounded in stillness, is the compass by which every choice flows. It allows you to navigate uncertainty, act with confidence, and embrace change without fear. The world will continue to shift, but you remain centered. In this center, you do not merely survive. You perceive, create, and thrive. Stillness within constant change is the foundation from which your highest potential is realized, the quiet power that guides every movement toward coherence, intelligence, and expansive transformation. 8. Align choices with the unseen field shaping all outcomes. Every choice you make sends ripples through an unseen web of intelligence. This field is not abstract. It is the invisible architecture shaping every outcome in your life. Most people move through life assuming that the world is a series of random events. But the quantum perspective shows something far more profound. Reality responds to coherence, attention, and aligned action. As Erwin Schrödinger, one of the pioneers of quantum mechanics, stated, "Consciousness is a singular of which the plural is unknown. Your awareness is not separate from the field. It is the very lens through which possibility collapses into reality." Alignment is the key to working with this field instead of against it. Every decision, no matter how small, interacts with this intelligent fabric. Choosing reaction over reflection, fear over presence, or force over flow scatters your energy and introduces friction. Conversely, choices that honor your inner knowing, resonate with integrity, and flow with opportunity strengthen your coherence. You begin to see the subtle dance between action and outcome. When aligned, doors open that previously felt locked. When misaligned, resistance and obstacles appear, often mirroring internal disharmony. Understanding this shifts your relationship to life itself. You are not a passive observer. You are a conscious participant in a field of infinite potential. Alignment begins with awareness. Each morning, before engaging with the noise of the world, Take a moment to feel into your energy, your intentions, and your direction. Ask yourself, are my actions today serving expansion or contraction? Are they rooted in reaction or guided by discernment? Even the subtlest choices, what to say, what to focus on, what energy to carry, echo through the field. You are continuously transmitting energetic signals that the unseen field receives and responds to. The more coherent your alignment, the more effortlessly your life begins to unfold. Unseen fields respond to clarity. When your mind is scattered, your energy fragmented, and your intentions unclear, the field mirrors that confusion. Outcomes become unpredictable, resistance grows, and opportunities feel obscured. By cultivating internal coherence, you sharpen the interface between intention and manifestation. The quantum field does not judge, it simply responds. Each clear, deliberate choice produces alignment, and this alignment amplifies the velocity of your progress. Understanding this principle transforms the ordinary act of decision-making into a sacred tool for evolution. The body is an essential mediator between conscious intention and field response. Sensations are not merely physical, they are coded signals of alignment or resistance. Fatigue, tension, or restlessness are often subtle indicators that a choice is energetically misaligned. Conversely, ease, lightness, and focus indicate harmony with the underlying field. By noticing these cues, you gain immediate feedback on the coherence of your actions. Alignment is not abstract, it is tangible and perceptible when you attune to your own embodied wisdom. Every challenge offers a test of alignment. When faced with obstacles, the field is not punishing you, it is reflecting back the state of your coherence. Misalignment triggers friction, while resonance invites flow. The key is conscious participation. Each decision to act from clarity rather than compulsion, from presence rather than fear, strengthens your signal to the field. Even decisions that seem minor can have disproportionate effects. Life unfolds like a symphony, and each aligned choice contributes to harmony. Misalignment introduces dissonance, which is immediately perceptible if you learn to listen to your own energy. Practical application requires active attunement. Begin by slowing down in the face of choices. Before speaking, acting, or reacting, pause to sense your energetic state. Ask, does this choice resonate with coherence and integrity? If hesitation, tightness, or inner conflict arise, these are signs that the field is offering guidance. Pay attention. Small adjustments in intention, timing, or approach can redirect outcomes dramatically. Alignment is iterative. The more consistently you tune into the field, the more instinctual your alignment becomes. The field responds not only to individual choice, but to collective resonance. Your coherence affects the systems around you. Relationships, work, community, and even natural rhythms. When you act from alignment, you become a node of order within the network, influencing outcomes beyond immediate perception. Choices that prioritize clarity, presence, and resonance ripple outward, shaping situations in ways that intelligence alone cannot predict. This is why great leaders, innovators, and creators consistently describe moments of insight as feeling guided or in the flow. The unseen field is orchestrating possibilities in response to coherence. Fear and ego often masquerade as necessity. They encourage decisions rooted in scarcity, control, or external validation. These choices distort your energy and generate resistance within the field. Alignment requires honesty, assessing whether a choice is born of authentic intention or habitual fear. The quantum field is neutral. It amplifies whatever energy you broadcast. By choosing clarity, presence, and alignment over reactive impulses, you harness a force far more potent than struggle, effort, or sheer willpower. Timing is another subtle dimension of alignment. The field orchestrates sequences that cannot always be perceived by linear thought. Acting in coherence does not always mean acting immediately. Sometimes the field requires patience, observation, and attunement before the next step becomes clear. Trusting the timing of unfolding is part of working with the unseen field. Resistance to the natural tempo creates friction, while surrender to timing amplifies efficiency. Your alignment is measured not only by what you do but by when and how you do it. Awareness of outcomes completes the feedback loop. Every result, whether anticipated or unexpected, carries information about your alignment. If an outcome is turbulent, consider whether your actions were truly coherent with your highest intent. If an outcome flows smoothly, note what signals led to that resonance. Over time, this reflective practice trains your perception to recognize alignment instantly, allowing choices to become faster, more intuitive, and more powerful. You learn to sense the field before acting, and your life begins to respond in extraordinary ways. Daily embodiment strengthens this process. Movement, breath, meditation, and conscious reflection are not ancillary. They are tools for maintaining coherence. Each act of alignment in daily life, no matter how mundane, reinforces the signal you broadcast to the unseen field. Energy that is habitually coherent creates a momentum of unfolding, where opportunities, synchronicities, and insights converge effortlessly. Disruption diminishes this momentum, while attention and presence sustain it. The unseen field is responsive. Your consistent alignment is the key to reliability and manifestation. Alignment also demands courage. The unseen field may guide you toward unfamiliar territory, challenging your comfort zones. Resistance may arise because the mind fears uncertainty or loss of control, yet courage is the willingness to act despite the unknown. Alignment does not remove challenge. It clarifies the path. By choosing actions that resonate with your deepest integrity, you invite guidance and support from the field, allowing uncertainty to become a canvas for creation rather than a barrier to progress. Ultimately, aligning choices with the unseen field transforms life from a series of random events into a coherent, intelligent unfolding. Every thought, every decision, every intention is an energetic signature, interacting with the matrix of possibility. When you cultivate awareness, listen to your body, trust timing, and act from clarity, the field amplifies your coherence and supports outcomes that serve your highest potential. Life shifts from struggle to synergy, from chaos to flow, from limitation to expansion. Your choices become the instruments through which the unseen field orchestrates reality, and you discover that alignment is not a strategy, it is your natural state. 9. Transform shadows into light by acting boldly with love. Shadows are not enemies. They are unacknowledged parts of yourself waiting to be recognized and transformed. Every fear, doubt, or pain you carry is a shadow energy that, when approached with awareness and love, can be transmuted into power and insight. The quantum field operates without judgment. It responds to energy, intention, and coherence. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Shadows are not to be ignored or suppressed. They are the raw material for transformation. Acting boldly with love is the catalyst that turns hidden energy into luminous creation. Bold action begins with presence. Presence allows you to see shadows as they truly are, without distortion from fear or projection. When you are present, you no longer deny the discomfort or suppress the impulse to look inward. You recognize the patterns, memories, and emotions that have been operating unconsciously. This recognition alone begins to dissolve the charge of shadow energy. But transformation requires movement. Acting boldly means taking steps aligned with integrity, compassion, and courage. It is not reckless force. It is intelligent engagement with life guided by the principle of love. Love is a powerful force in quantum terms because it is coherent energy. Coherent energy organizes, heals, and amplifies. When action arises from love rather than fear, it resonates with the field, and transformation occurs on multiple levels: personal, relational, and even systemic. Fear-driven action scatters energy and reinforces limitation. Love-driven action aligns energy and magnifies possibility. This is why seemingly small gestures done with genuine love often ripple far beyond immediate perception. The field recognizes intention as clearly as thought or action, and the more coherent that energy, the more effective the transformation. Shadow energy often appears as resistance in life. Challenges, difficult relationships, or recurring patterns are reflections of unprocessed internal material. By acting boldly with love, you engage these reflections without avoidance. You approach conflict with curiosity instead of judgment, respond to criticism with understanding rather than defensiveness, and confront personal limitations with courage instead of denial. Every encounter with shadow is an opportunity to illuminate a new layer of yourself. The process is not instantaneous, but persistent. Loving action gradually dissolves the dense energy that shadows carry. Begin with self-observation. Notice moments when you feel triggered, reactive, or contracted. These are portals to shadow energy. Instead of turning away, breathe into the sensations, allowing awareness to settle without judgment. Recognize that the discomfort is pointing toward growth. Acting boldly begins here, with acknowledgement and intentional choice. You do not need external validation to act. Your alignment with integrity and love is sufficient to catalyze transformation in the field. Even small acts of conscious engagement shift patterns, and repeated practice compounds into profound energetic coherence. Fear often disguises itself as self-protection, and it resists the vulnerability required for transformation. Bold action with love requires the willingness to be seen, to step into uncertainty, and to act without attachment to outcomes. The quantum field rewards coherence, not expectation. Every step taken in courage amplifies the frequency of love within you, gradually overshadowing fear and limitation. This is why courageous, loving action transforms not just your life, but the environments and relationships that reflect your energy. Practical embodiment amplifies results. Daily acts of conscious choice, speaking truth gently, offering help without expectation, embracing discomfort rather than avoiding it, train the nervous system to operate in coherence rather than contraction. Each act is a signal to the quantum field, showing that you are ready to participate in creation consciously. Shadow energy responds to attention, and when that attention is delivered with compassion and courage, what once appeared as limitation begins to reveal hidden opportunity. The universe is not neutral, it mirrors the energy you project. Transformation also requires emotional courage. Love is not sentimentality, it is fearless engagement. When you encounter anger, grief, or resentment, either in yourself or others, acting boldly with love means addressing these emotions without avoidance, judgment, or aggression. By witnessing, listening, and responding with clarity, you shift dense energy into coherence. The more consistently you do this, the more natural transformation becomes. Shadows are no longer obstacles but allies, guiding you toward deeper understanding and greater creative capacity. The field itself responds to this energy. Quantum principles reveal that observation, intention, and coherent action shape outcomes. When love guides your bold actions, you create a feedback loop, energy flows, synchronicities emerge, and opportunities appear that were invisible to fear-driven perception. You move in harmony with the intelligence of the field rather than struggling against it. This alignment strengthens resilience, expands insight, and fosters a creative flow where shadows become a source of illumination instead of limitation. Every relationship becomes a mirror for this work. When you act boldly with love in interactions, the field reflects coherence back to you. Conflicts soften, miscommunications clarify, and connections deepen. People respond not just to words but to the energetic quality behind them. 10. Embody expansion by living daily as limitless quantum creation. Expansion is not a distant goal. It is the lived experience of recognizing yourself as limitless in every moment, a conscious participant in the quantum fabric of reality. Each day offers a canvas upon which energy, intention, and action converge to create outcomes far beyond linear expectation. In the quantum field, potential is infinite, and every thought, word, and gesture contributes to its unfolding. As Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, observed, all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. That force is the energy of creation within and around you, and embodying expansion is the act of consciously channeling it. To live as a limitless quantum creator, begin by cultivating presence. Presence is the bridge between awareness and creation. Without it, intention disperses and energy fragments. Observe your surroundings, your sensations, and your thoughts with clarity, without judgment. Notice where energy is tight, where it flows freely, and where it lingers. This simple attunement aligns your field with the rhythm of creation and primes your capacity to act in resonance with infinite possibility. Presence transforms ordinary moments into gateways for energetic expansion. Your daily actions are expressions of your creative field. Every choice, from the smallest micro-decision to life-altering moves, projects energy into the quantum field. When your actions are coherent with your highest values and authentic purpose, they magnify expansion. Conversely, choices made from fear, obligation, or distraction scatter energy, constricting the field and limiting the resonance of potential. Awareness of this principle empowers you to act intentionally. Expansion is not passive. It is deliberate, dynamic, and continuous. Begin each day by setting clear, energetic intentions. Before engaging with tasks, relationships, or environments, ask, how can I embody growth, creativity, and possibility in this moment? Visualize outcomes not as fixed endpoints but as energetic currents you are influencing. Feel the sensations of success, joy, and fulfillment as already present in your field. The body responds to this coherence, aligning physiology, emotion, and thought into a singular channel of creation. Energy then radiates outward, attracting opportunities and experiences in perfect resonance with your intentions. Expansion also requires embracing discomfort. Quantum creation often emerges through tension, uncertainty, and challenge. Fear of the unknown is a signal that you are approaching the edges of habitual perception. By leaning into these moments rather than avoiding them, you stretch your field beyond the familiar. Each act of courage, curiosity, or bold experimentation magnifies energetic amplitude. Limitations dissolve not through force, but through willingness to engage fully with the unknown, to move through resistance, and to allow possibility to unfold naturally. Embodiment is key. Expansion is not just a mental concept. It is felt, lived, and expressed through the body. Breath, posture, movement, and voice are all instruments of energy projection. Deep, conscious breathing amplifies clarity and coherence. Open posture aligns the nervous system with confidence and readiness. Intentional movement communicates alignment with the field. Each gesture becomes a statement of creation, signaling to the universe that you are fully participating in the act of limitless manifestation. Observation of patterns enhances this practice. Notice recurring opportunities, synchronicities, and coincidences. These are indicators of resonance between your field and the broader quantum matrix. When alignment is consistent, you begin to recognize cues and intuitions that guide action with precision. The universe is not random. It is a network of possibilities responding to coherent energy. By cultivating awareness, you amplify the signal of your own creativity and allow expansion to occur naturally and continuously. Expansion also requires release. Holding attachment to outcomes, identities, or old limitations constrains the field. Quantum creation thrives in flexibility, adaptability, and openness. By surrendering rigidity, you create space for new possibilities to enter. Detachment does not imply passivity. It is strategic. Letting go of expectation while maintaining aligned action allows energy to move freely and amplifies the magnitude of creation. The more fluid your engagement, the more responsive the field becomes. Living daily as a limitless creator means acting with integrity and authenticity. Authenticity is coherence in action. It is the alignment of thought, emotion, and behavior. Every choice grounded in truth, love, and discernment expands your field. Conversely, compromises made for approval or avoidance introduce dissonance that contracts energy. Each decision to embody authenticity strengthens your influence over the field, magnifying your capacity to attract, create, and transform circumstances in alignment with your highest potential. Integration of quantum creation into daily life requires repetition and consistency. Each morning, set intentions. Throughout the day, return to presence and embodiment. Each night, reflect on alignment and resonance. This cyclical practice conditions the nervous system and energetic field to operate at a higher frequency. Patterns of coherence become habitual, making expansion not an occasional event, but a natural orientation of being. Life becomes a continuous laboratory of experimentation, insight, and manifestation. Fear and limitation will always appear as shadows, attempting to constrain creation. Recognize them, feel them, but do not submit to them. Each encounter is an opportunity to assert your energetic sovereignty. Step boldly into action, guided by clarity, compassion, and vision. Quantum principles teach that observation collapses possibility into reality. By observing and engaging with life from a place of expanded presence, you collapse potential into aligned outcomes, transforming limitation into opportunity. Expansion is also relational. Your field interacts with the energy of others. By embodying clarity, generosity, and authenticity, you influence collective resonance, creating environments that support growth and innovation. Leadership in this sense is not about control but about coherence, an energetic alignment that shapes possibilities across systems and relations. The more expansive your field, the more impact you naturally exert, without effort or manipulation. Reflection is critical. Each evening, consider, how did my actions, thoughts, and choices align with expansion? Where did fear or distraction narrow my field? How can I adjust tomorrow to embody limitless creation more fully? This practice tunes perception, sharpens intuition, and reinforces alignment with the quantum field. The repetition of conscious evaluation ensures that expansion is not theoretical but actively embodied and lived. Innovation and creativity flourish in this state. Limitless quantum creation thrives where curiosity meets disciplined engagement. By approaching each problem or opportunity with openness and coherence, solutions appear that are not linear or predictable. Energy flows through constraints to create breakthrough. What seems impossible from the perspective of fear or limitation becomes achievable through the lens of presence, clarity, and alignment. Every day is an invitation to participate fully in the generative intelligence of the field. Ultimately, living as a limitless creator is a matter of identity. You are not merely reacting to circumstance. You are a conscious agent of change and possibility. Expansion is not something you acquire, it is something you embody. Your energy, intention, and action converge to form a coherent field of creation that interacts with the universe at every level. Life becomes a mirror of the coherence you maintain, reflecting the depth and breadth of your creative capacity. Embodiment of expansion transforms perception, decision-making, and influence. You move with confidence, clarity, and courage. Challenges become catalysts for growth, uncertainty becomes fertile ground for insight, and opportunities arrive in alignment with your highest vision. By consistently choosing presence, alignment, authenticity, and bold action, you reinforce the energy of creation and live in resonance with infinite possibility. The field responds. Life unfolds. Potential becomes reality. Expansion is not an endpoint. It is a practice, a daily living, a continuous engagement with the limitless intelligence that surrounds you. Each moment is an opportunity to embody your creative power, to act in alignment, and to radiate coherence. By integrating these principles into your life, you awaken a state where limitation is optional, fear is transmuted, and the field of infinite potential is accessible in every breath, every thought, and every deliberate action. You become the living expression of limitless quantum creation, and the universe responds accordingly. As you integrate these 10 quantum chapters into daily practice, you begin to notice a subtle shift. Discomfort becomes guidance, doubt transforms into insight, and every action resonates with a deeper intelligence. Start each day by sensing your energy, observing the shadows, and asking which choice aligns with expansion. Move boldly, breathe fully, and release resistance as if the field itself is shaping your path. Your mind will crave control, your ego will whisper fear, but leaning into the discomfort triggers massive transformation. This is the hidden psychology that most avoid. Yet those who dare unlock limitless potential align with each chapter step by step. Embody presence, trust the signals, act with love, and live as flowing creation. Subscribe now to continue this journey of hidden mastery, because the next video will dive into an even more critical audiobook, revealing the secrets of quantum life alignment that the mind alone cannot perceive.